Hi, first grade. I hope you're well. This is our second class of the week. So last week we looked at taxonomy, and then in our final class of the week, everyone brought their dogs to class, and I just thought we would continue that slightly and kind of summarize that class where we brought in our pets and the taxonomy class. So today we're going to be talking about domestication. Okay, so how did humans turn wolves into dogs? Let's go. So we know that this is a grey wolf and this is a dog, specifically a pug, but they both have the same genus and species, Canis lupus. A grey wolf and a dog are both called Canis lupus. But as you can see, they are very, very different. They look different, they can do different things. So if they're the same genus and species, how did the grey wolf become the domesticated dog that we know and love today? So for this, we need to go back in time, a long time ago, okay? Specifically, we need to go back in time between 20,000 and 40,000 years ago. We don't know exactly when, but based on fossils and DNA lineages and remains that we have found, we think it's somewhere between this time. So humans existed 20,000 to 40,000 years ago, but they're very different to the humans that we are and we know today. Specifically, they were called hunter-gatherers, okay? They didn't live in cities, they didn't live in a single place like humans do now. They would live in small groups, which would have been called tribes, and they would have moved to different areas, okay? Now, they're called hunter-gatherers because they would have gathered food they could find, maybe plants, and maybe they would have hunted other animals that obviously they could eat. They would cook this food, they would live in an area for a short period of time, and then when there was no more food or maybe the weather changed due to the seasons, they would have moved to another site, okay? So they were nomadic, which means they moved between sites and they would hunt and gather food. They would not stay in one space. Now, we think the domestication from wolves to dogs maybe happened in one single location, and we think it happened on the Eurasian plate, okay? So somewhere in Eurasia, which is the continental mass that includes Europe and Asia. We think that it probably happened somewhere in Siberia, which is northern Russia, because that's where most grey wolves come from. But there are some thoughts that maybe they did come from East Asia, okay? So somewhere on the Eurasian plate, most probably Siberia, possibly East Asia. So what would have happened is hunter-gatherers would have temporarily set up camps, and obviously as they started to live there, they would have started to have food there. Now, it is thought that dogs or wolves at the time, they would have moved near to these camps where these hunter-gatherers were, and they would have tried to have found leftovers. So any food, maybe bones or bits of trash that the hunter-gatherers no longer needed, the wolves may have come close to the humans to try and eat it. Now, if the wolves were very aggressive, then they would not have been successful because the hunter-gatherers would have tried to fought them off. But if they were quite timid, maybe they were quite well behaved, then the hunter-gatherers wouldn't have minded. So the wolves would have become a lot closer to the hunter-gatherers. Over time, their relationship would have strengthened, now realizing that the wolves may not have meant harm for the humans, they only wanted the leftovers of the humans. They were not a danger. Initially, the humans would have had no benefit, but over time, a symbiotic relationship may have formed. Remember, the wolves may have formed some kind of loyalty with the humans, knowing that the humans would give them food, would give them leftovers, and maybe in return, the wolves would offer the tribes protection. Different tribes of humans may have had problems within each other, so the wolves would have added an extra layer of protection to different groups, different tribes of hunter-gatherers. So as the wolves spent more time living with the humans realized that they could be used for different purposes. Initially, they weren't used as pets, but they were used to survive. So the wolves would be been bred to hunt and help the humans hunt other animals. and also maybe to rear animals and help safeguard animals in agriculture, maybe in some kind of farming. Okay, so they have initially bred the wolves to hunt and for farming. Now, between 20,000 and 7,000 years ago, it's believed that as the humans were nomadic, traveling all over the continent, dogs would have traveled with them. And by 7,000 years ago, there were dogs all over the continent. Okay, they weren't just wolves, there were many dogs all over the continent. However, about 6,000 years ago, give or take a few thousand years, hunter-gatherers, they stopped traveling around. They decided to settle, okay? And these humans, these hunter-gatherers, now became settlers. And what they formed were civilizations, which were the original villages, the original towns, the original cities, okay? As these humans settled, the dogs settled with them. Now, because the humans have settled, they had less of a reason to hunt and gather. Okay, there would have been other reasons to have a dog. Okay, maybe the dog could have provided a bit of protection to the house in the early civilization, in the early city. Maybe the dogs would have provided some kind of companionship. Of course, there would have still been some kind of hunting. Where humans would leave the city and hunt and return. So obviously dogs would still have a role in hunting and agriculture, just like they do today. Dogs are still used in farming today to herd sheep. So as humans had new reasons from being hunter-gatherers to settlers, there were new reasons to have a dog too. Maybe we started to realize that dogs were just nice to have. Humans thought dogs were cute and they just wanted dogs because they thought it would be nice to have one. Many, many reasons. How do we all know all this? So dog remains 4,000 and 7,000 years old have been found in Ireland and Germany respectively. So when anthropologists were collecting the fossils and they studied the DNA, they found that in both sites, they both had DNA very similar to the grey wolf. Dogs in other continents around the world, like the Americas and Africa, all have DNA lineages similar to European ancestors. So that's proof that all dogs probably came from Europe. Definitely domestication happened there. So let's return to our original image in question. Is a wolf and a dog both have the same genus and species, Canis lupus, but they are very different. They look very different and they can do very different things. So because dogs have been domesticated over a period of thousands of years, what we need is a subspecies, okay? This is another layer of taxonomy, and the subspecies name for a domesticated dog is familiaris. So your domesticated dog in your house would be Canis lupus familiaris, but the grey wolf is just Canis lupus, okay? Dogs and wolves are the same species then. So because of this extensive breeding over thousands and thousands of years, they have started to look quite different. So this is why we classify them as subspecies. So guys, these are the questions that I'd like you to do today, okay? All the information can be found in this video, and these questions, you can do it in a Google Docs, and then you can upload that to Google Classroom, okay? So all dogs originally come from which type of wolf? When did domestication first happen? Give me a period of time, because we don't know the exact time. Where did domestication first happen? Give me an approximate area. We don't know the specific location, but we know a general area. How did the hunter-gatherers use the dogs? What were the dogs and the wolves were initially breeded to do what? What were the new reasons to have dogs when humans settled in civilizations? And finally, what is the name for the subspecies of dogs? So first grade, that is the end of our video today on the domestication of wolves into dogs. I'll be looking forward to your questions and marking your answers, and I'll be online the whole hour if you have any questions for me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.